Hello and welcome back to Small Talk. We've got a great episode ahead as we chat with a pair from Transylvania. I'm your host, Katie Mucci. Each week on this show, we highlight the past and present of Division III, with both current and former student athletes joining to talk about their experiences, their favorite on-campus spots, the craziest road trip stories, and more. This week, we're chatting with Tom Buchert, a current member of the men's golf team, alongside a former member and Transy Hall of Famer, Justin Tereshko. The two talk about their trips to Dinosaur World, the reason they chose Transylvania, what they see for the future of Division III, and more. Thanks for joining this week. Now it's time for some small talk.
I'm Tom Buchert. I'm currently a sophomore on the Transylvania men's golf team.
I am Justin Tereshko. I am a former men's golfer at Transylvania University, and I'm currently the head men's golf coach at Eastern Kentucky University.
Thank you to both for being here today. I know a busy time of year. Tom, I think you guys just wrapped up your season shortly. Justin, you are playing and maybe your team's still going at it. I know Division I's a little bit different schedule than D3. Appreciate you making time to be here though. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about, always fun to hear how things have changed around campuses, is on-campus life. So I'm going to start with you on this one, Tom, and just hear what are kind of the best spots you're hanging out with your teammates on campus or around campus. I know Lexington's a great spot to be in general. So what are some of those favorite spots you all are at?
One of our favorites, there's a lot of really good restaurants we like to go to eat. There's a thing called Cookout. It's pretty popular down south. It's fun to eat at. There's a lot of good stuff since we're so close to UK. UK basketball games and some of the fun stuff we like to do with the team. Yeah.
What for Justin, when you were back there, what are kind of the things? Was Cookout around back then? What was the situation?
Cookout, unfortunately, was not around back when I was in school. I wish it was, though. I would have visited that place very frequently. Some of the on-campus stuff, I don't even think is there anymore. I think it's changed. I know I graduated 12 years ago, and it's amazing how much the campus has changed. So I could tell you some places, but they don't even exist anymore. So, but we did hang out. We did hang out a lot. We also, same thing. You know, you're 3 blocks from downtown. We went to all kinds of different restaurants. Sawyer's was a hot spot for us. I'm not even sure if it's still down there. Or maybe I know it's somewhere, but it may not be place.
Yeah.
So it was nice being so close to downtown, and that's where we like to hang out.
Awesome. So now let's think about leaving Lexington, leaving Kentucky, and think about your road trip. So this is one, like I mentioned before we started recording, I always find interesting. It's just to hear how travel's changed over the years. 12 years isn't too much, and you had the same coach, but maybe he got a little more comfortable in the later years with the budget, or the travel might have just gotten a little better. So I'll have you start this one, Justin. What was the travel situation like for you and your teammates when you're going? And also, did you guys get to do any flights? I know sometimes golf, you might get a spring break trip, or nationals might be in a fun location. What kind of things did you get?
Yeah, we took the bus is no longer in use. Now there's a nice big fleet of Ford Transit vans with Transylvania Pioneers on them. But back when we traveled, there were 2 kind of, they're very similar to a short bus, school bus, except they was painted with Transylvania University on the side. The one good thing that they were very uncomfortable seats, but the one thing it did have, both of them had a TV that came down from the ceiling, and you could pop a DVD player in. It wasn't, smart TVs did not exist yet. So you had to pop in a DVD. And I want to say it was my senior year at the beginning of the spring when we drove down to Jekyll Island, Georgia. We put Wedding Crashers in the DVD player, and it got stuck. And so it still worked, but every single time we watched a movie, the second semester of my senior year, it was Wedding Crashers. So I saw that movie probably 15 to 20 times that semester. And I'm trying to think. I don't think we ever did fly for anything other than the NCAA championship. which we did fly twice, I guess. We flew to the preview down in Florida, and then we flew back down to Florida in May to play. But Tom, how are those how are those nice brand new Ford Transit vans treating you?
They're pretty nice. No TV, but it's pretty nice. Coach gets us there pretty efficiently. We always stay at a Marriott. That's our staple. It's always a Marriott with him. We flew once this fall to Vegas, which was pretty nice. It was pretty awesome for the preview down there. And then, we're pretty consistent with just the nice Transy vans they give us now. They're pretty comfortable seats. We don't have any individuals, and it's just 5 guys. Everyone's pretty spaced out, so it's pretty comfortable. And then, we do get to drive down south to Jekyll, like you said. We still do that every year, so that's a pretty long drive. But in that van, it's pretty comfortable. So we don't have the DVD player though. More just computer, Netflix, and YouTube. But I guess times changed a little bit.
You don't get to watch Wedding Crashers every single week of your career?
No. Me and my roommate
rough.
like to watch that. We like to watch The Hangover. That's our go-to.
Okay.
So we watch that pretty much every time.
I can recite. If I just was blindfolded, I could recite probably at least 2/3 to 3/4 of the lines from Wedding Crashers, simply just because of watching it my senior year when it got stuck.
I guess it could be worse. There could be worse movies maybe that could get stuck. There could be better too. Awesome. Well, you guys both a couple national trips or a couple trips out of the state, sorry. Thinking back to those, I know you're obviously there to compete, but maybe you get to do some fun touristy things while you're there. Anything for either of you that stands out on some of those maybe flight trips or longer trips that was a memorable experience?
I mean, this year going to Vegas, it was really cool to see the Strip. I mean, we were there to compete and everything, and we just saw it and drove by it, but it was really cool just to see it. It was pretty awesome just to be there and walk around the Strip and everything. And then, this year for our conference tournament was in Terre Haute, so coach took us to Indiana State's basketball gym and got to see the Larry Bird statue and everything like that. He's big into the basketball gyms, so we've done that a few times. And then there's been a lot of really cool. He's big into just a small little place, Dinosaur World, on the way from Kentucky. We get a picture every time. Yeah, we get a picture every time.
Take a picture next to the T-Rex my freshman
year. Yeah, we've gotten a picture every time somebody's new to the van. We get a trip to past Dinosaur World, so it's not that great, but it's pretty funny. So good little tradition he does. But yeah.
Anything stand out for you, Justin, on your trips?
Yeah, well, Dinosaur World is
Dinosaur World.
Yeah, that was I think one of the first trips my freshman year maybe, and Coach Lane's actually the only one that calls me this, but I'm assuming it's because I took this picture, but he calls me T-Rex. So I'm assuming it's because he made me stop and do that. But the two things, actually, they're both freshman year, I think, that stand out. The first one was on the way to Tunica National to play in Rhodes College event. We left a day early, and it was the first day of the Ryder Cup at Valhalla in 2008. And it was, we stayed for the morning session. I don't think we stayed. We maybe stayed for the tee time for the guys to tee off in the afternoon because J.B. Holmes and Kenny Perry did not play in the morning match. They were both from Kentucky, and they played in the afternoon paired together, I believe. So I believe we watched them tee off and then left and drove to Memphis. And then a couple weeks later, we played the Gordon Collegiate Classic, which is now in Columbus, Ohio every year. But that year it was in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And I remember he didn't tell us, Coach Lane did not tell us what our practice round tee time was. He's just like, hey, we're going to leave at 7:30 a.m. on Saturday morning to go play the practice round. And we go and we start driving. We've been on the interstate for probably 20 minutes, and someone's like, where are we going? he took us to our nation's capital in Washington, D.C. and made us all get out and take a picture in front of the White House and the Washington Monument, and then we went and played the practice round and then the tournament.
That's awesome. I do have to say, you said Dinosaur World, but I feel like your last name really does lend itself to the nickname T-Rex, now that I'm like looking at your last name. So
Yes,
maybe it's a combo.
Yes, yes, probably, but him and some of the guys that played on the team with me are the only ones that call me that.
Well, there you go. Okay, so those are kind of campus life, travel life. Let's just talk about academics and Transylvania. So, Tom, you are currently in the thick of it. What is your major?
I'm a health and exercise science major.
Okay,
So
and
kind of just
I see the fist pump. Is that what your major was too, Justin?
Yes, that was also my major. I'm assuming that I think Dr. Brown and Dr. Abraham are still there. Is that correct, Tom, or no?
Yeah, they're both still there. Yeah, Dr. Brown's actually my advisor. So yeah,
she's awesome.
Yeah, she's the best. So yep, she's always talking about past golfers and how she likes everyone. So yeah, they're both still there.
Make sure you tell them you did a podcast with me.
I will.
The next time you see him, and one of them's going to be like, "Oh man, it's a miracle he passed my class."
I'll make sure to mention that.
So since you went through the same program and I assume graduated, Justin, any advice for Tom while he gets through it?
No, I mean, just, don't be afraid to go ask them for help. I know I did that a lot. And they're very helpful. They're great. I mean, I've ran into both of them because I still live here in Lexington. So I've ran into them occasionally times over the last few years or so. And, it's always nice that, I know we only have, 3 or 4 different professors and they have 25, 30 kids in every class. And it's nice. It's really nice that they both still remember me, know who I am, know that I played golf, and we're just always very friendly. And there's no chance I graduate without Dr. Brown. She was also my SOL and advisor before I switched to Coach Lane's father.
I have one more question. So, Tom, for you, since you once again are in the thick of it, what has been your favorite class so far?
Favorite class I really enjoyed. I just finished up public health, and I had a brand new professor that was new to school, and it was really interesting. Learned a lot about just kind of going off of like everything that happened the last couple of years with COVID and everything like that. And it was just really interesting to hear how people deal with that and the government goes about that, and it was really interesting.
They're going to have to rewrite some textbooks soon for those classes after the last couple of years we've had.
Yeah.
Well, just one kind of general question I like to ask everyone on here. When you were deciding on your school, what drew you or led you to choosing Transy? Obviously, golf probably was a big factor, but what was the maybe deciding factor for you? And I'll have you start that one, Tom, and then Justin, you can follow up.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely, I got an email from Coach Lane, and he's coming down here and meeting him. He's a very charismatic guy, and he's just a great coach, and he's a big part of that. But also, the campus is just beautiful. It's so nice, and it's a small school, but it's in a big city, and you still get that kind of big school vibe from it. So that's really nice and appealing to me. And then just how beautiful it was. I mean, everything's really new. The grass was real cut, beautiful. The lawn. I mean, it's really pretty. So that was a big part of it.
Justin, for you?
Golf was probably the main reason why I went there at the time. Coach Lane, the first time I ever met Coach Lane was actually, my dad is actually the longest tenured employee at Hanover College, who is in Transy's conference. And Coach Lane also coached basketball. And my senior year in high school, Transy played at Hanover basketball. And I met Coach Lane on a Wednesday evening when their bus pulled up. And I actually walked onto the bus because he told me to. And the WGC World Golf Match Play Championship on the PGA Tour was what was on the TV. And he looked at me and he said, "See, I'm a basketball coach. I'm here coaching basketball, but I'm a golf coach at heart." And he points to the TV. And as like Tom said, he's very charismatic and captivating. And Coach Lane definitely was one of the big reasons why I went there. And obviously the school academically was very good. I looked at this Hanover College, which was the school that I was 5 minutes from, and I just wanted to get away. I was kind of grew up in a small town, wanted to be in a bigger city like Lexington. But number one is probably the number one reason is probably Coach Lane. I know I've told him this. I'm not the person, the husband, the father, the golfer, the coach that I am today, if it wasn't for Coach Lane.
Awesome. So now we are going to get to some story time. So the first one I'm going to ask you both is your funniest or craziest, but appropriate to put on this podcast story from your time.
I'm gonna have to rethink all of my stories.
You missed that parentheses appropriate on the
I did miss the appropriate, because there are 3 hilarious ones that I don't think any of them are probably appropriate.
We'll have Tom start it. Maybe you can edit in your head while he's talking.
I think. I mean, all my funniest stories just go back to things Coach Lane does. I mean, he's one of the he's a great coach, and he's one of the funniest guys. I mean, just how he talks to us every day when we're playing. I mean, my playing partners in every tournament always get a huge kick out of how he's like, I'll hit a shot and he's just like, wow, he's like, you suck. And I know he's joking and just messing with me and trying to get me to laugh while I'm out there playing. But the guys are like, wow, your coach he's really hard on you. I'm like, no, he's just joking, and everyone loves him, how he interacts with everyone after. And it's all funny, but just everything he does is always the best, and he's always so funny. And then just hanging out with the guys in the team in the bus. We always have in the band, we have a lot of funny just talks with him. So a lot of it goes back to him. I had to think off the top of my head.
Is that enough editing time, Justin?
Yes, I think I have 2. The first one was it was that same first trip where we played the Ryder Cup, or where we stopped at the Ryder Cup on the way down to Memphis. We stop at a gas station, and I'm wearing the Transy. The old logo was just like a block T for Transy, and I just kind of walked into a gas station, and some guy looks at me. He's like, "What's that T stand for? Tennessee, Texas?" I said, "No, sir, it stands for Transylvania." And he said, "What is your mascot, the Vampires?" And he laughed for about 10 seconds straight. And I'm like looking at him thinking, what is so funny? And I get back into the bus and I tell that to the guys. I was like, yeah, this guy just asked me what the T stood for. And when I said Transylvania, he's like, "Are you the Vampires?" And he laughed. And they all look at me with a blank stare. I won't say verbatim what Coach Lane looked at me and said, but it basically, he turned around and said, "Tereshko, are you freaking kidding me?" I had no clue until then that Dracula lived in Transylvania. I found that out first trip freshman year. Then the second story was when we were a couple years later, same tournament, Tunica National. Oh, you actually stay at that point. You stayed at Harrah's Casino, and they had a free shuttle from the hotel to go to the casino. And I was 21, so I could gamble. And we went to the casino to eat at Paula Dean's buffet, and we get done, and I decided to go hit the tables for a little bit. And then I see Coach Lane also at the table maybe 20 minutes later, and he gets up to leave. It's probably 10 o'clock, and we're teeing off at 8 a.m. the next morning. He comes over and taps me on the shoulder and whispers in my ear, "If you want to play golf here again, this is your last hand of blackjack," and walks off. So that was I won. That was my last hand of blackjack, and I went to bed.
Well, you won. That's great.
Yeah.
Those are both very good ones. So those are funny or crazy, but let's just talk about favorite memories. So things during your time with the program that you look back on fondly. And Justin, I will have you start this one, and then Tom, you can follow up.
Favorite memories. We won 4 straight conference championships when I was there, and we went to NCAAs every year. Junior year, we lost in a playoff to make the cut at NCAAs, and it motivated everyone on the team because we didn't have anybody graduate. And then my senior year, we actually finished runner-up at the NCAA championship. So that is for sure. We still talk about it to this day. The team actually got inducted into the Hall of Fame a couple months ago, and it was nice to see some guys that I hadn't seen in a while. And I think if you ask anyone on that team, everyone's favorite memory would be finishing runner-up at the NCAA championship, because I actually have the little trophy individual trophy that they give each player. Coach Lane obviously has the very large one in his office, but they give each player a small one, and the small one is still in my office, and always will be, and it's something that I'll cherish and never forget.
That's awesome. What course were you at, or where was that for that one?
We were at Mission Inn Resort in Howey in the Hills, Florida, which is probably 45 minutes north of Orlando. You'd have to get lost to find it.
They still play there every now and then too. That's awesome.
Yeah, I actually finished runner-up there as a coach when I was a coach a couple years ago at the same golf course. So
you have a big trophy now too.
Back runner-up. Yes. That trophy stayed at the school. I didn't get to take the big one with me.
Oh, that's true. Now you just got to win one here.
Exactly.
Awesome. Tom, how about you?
Kind of like Justin. I mean, we lost our playoff last year in the national championship to make the cut, but it was just so cool because we were hosting it at King Trace Champions in Lexington, and it was just so cool to see how many people were out watching. We played a 3-hole playoff. For 2 holes, everyone tied, all 5 guys, and it was just so cool to see just how many people were there. I'd never played in front of that many people before, and it was pretty surreal. And even though we didn't win, it was such a cool experience to learn from, and it was just so much fun.
That would be a really cool experience. And they are currently hosting again for the women this week. So I don't know if you're in Lexington, Tom, going to make it out there to go check out, but very cool experience for Transylvania to get to host that a couple of years in a row. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to start to wrap it up and talk a little bit about just Division III. As I mentioned before we got to recording and everything, this is part of our 50th anniversary. So we are bringing together current and former student athletes all year long to talk about their experiences, how things have changed over the years. So my first question is for you both. What does it mean to you to be or to have been a Division III student athlete? And what has that experience meant to you? And Tom, I'll have you start.
Yeah, it's meant so much to me in the last, I'm just going to be a junior, so it's only been 2 years, but to give me the opportunity to continue to play golf has been amazing because it's just so much of my life, and that's been so great. I'm so appreciative for that. And then also just the great academics. I feel like you don't really get a better education than this, and it's how close the professors are to you, and how much one-on-one time you get with them is really important. So get to travel so much. I feel like that's really kind of not a lot of people don't know about all the great trips you get to take. It's not just local. I've been everywhere. Mississippi, Georgia, Florida. We go to Hilton Head every year, Las Vegas, and it's so awesome to be able to receive this great education while also getting to play golf at a high level.
Awesome. Justin, how about you? It sounds like you also grew up around a D3 school, so you might have had a bit more exposure to that before you got on a campus, but what did it mean to you to be a D3 student athlete?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was the only thing I ever knew. Just, with the dad he was actually a golf coach and a football coach, football coach first, and then kind of drove the van for golf. So I just, been around athletics in the D3 basically since I was born. And I feel like it was the only thing for me to do was to go be a D3 athlete somewhere. D3 student comes first. D1 level, especially the Power Fives nowadays, don't think student comes first. The Enterprise Rent-A-Car had the NCAA commercials during the NCAA tournament. It used to say 99% of student athletes go pro in something other than sports. And, you know, D3, you can maybe count on one hand how many athletes have made it pro from the D3 level. And what, you know, I echo what Tom said about the academics. You know, academics come first. You know, that degree that hangs up in my office that says Transylvania University will go with me to the grave. You know, and, you know, especially picking Transylvania. And, you know, I met my wife there. She was also a student athlete. You know, we have two beautiful kids. None of that happens without, you know, going to a D3 school and, you know, and meeting other student athletes. And not only that, I had plenty of friends that were not student athletes too, which I can tell you from coaching at the Division I level for 5 years, are basically the only people that my players have been friends with are each other. And, you know, it's great that I still talk to friends that, you know, I joined a fraternity. I was in a fraternity my freshman and senior year. If you're wondering about sophomore and junior, we don't have enough time on this podcast to get into why I wasn't in one sophomore or junior year. But, you know, it's things like that you're able to, the social aspect of college can't be underlooked. And, you know, I had so much fun at Transy, and, you know, if I could do it all over again, even though, even though I'm still paying the school for my education, I would do it all over again in a heartbeat. And I would for sure choose Transylvania University.
Who's the better athlete of you and your wife?
Her.
What sport did she play?
Tennis.
Okay.
We were actually male and female athletes of the year our senior year. She won. She won 2 MVPs. She was conference MVP twice. So
Jeez.
don't tell her that I said that she was better though.
That's awesome. Our last question for both of you. 50 years down, many more to come for Division III. So kind of want you to look into the future here a little bit. But when you look at, you know, what Division IIIs, where they've come from, where they are now, and what's coming up, what do you see for the future of D3? And Tom, then Justin, and then we will close it out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just going to keep getting better. I mean, I feel like the athletics has continued to get better and better. I mean, it feels more and more like a big deal now with how, you know, going to the national championship, how well it's run. And I just feel like it's just going to continue to improve. And, you know, they put on such great events for us. And it's going to just keep getting better. And it's so awesome.
Justin?
Yeah, you know, 50 years, you know, I think for it you know, I think it's going to outlast D2 and maybe even D1 with, you know, as a current D1 coach, I could get into so many things about with NIL and with all of the, with all of the conference realignment and stuff. But the beauty about D3 is there's no athletic scholarships available. So everyone that's going there is going there to get an education first. And I think that's the best model that there is. And that's why I think it's going to stand the test of time for that one reason. Everybody that goes D3 is focused on education first. And then, you know, obviously they want to play a sport in college, and that's the way that they can do it. And so for that reason, you know, I think that it's going to outlast us all.
That I like to hear. Job security. Thank you both so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time and chatting about Transylvania.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you very much.
To everyone listening, thanks for tuning into this episode of Small Talk. We post new episodes every week. To follow along with everything Division III, you can find us on social media at NCAA D3 or NCAA DIII. Make sure to join the conversation with us all year long by using the hashtag DIII50. Have a great day, and we'll see you for some more Small Talk next week.